So today we are here with Susan from the Schizophrenia Society of Newfoundland. So Susan is going to have some chats with us today about how you folks can get involved and volunteer with the Schizophrenia Society. So if you folks have any questions as we're going through, please put them in the chat or the Q&A, and I'd be happy to read them to Susan at the end. But without further ado, Susan, you can take it away.
So much, Lindsay. When I got the request, the first thing I thought of was, I have 5 really solid volunteers and 4 of them are from MUN. So I'm thinking, let's go get some more. So my name is Susan Hyde, as Lindsay said. I'm the executive director of the Schizophrenia Society of Newfoundland and Labrador. So we're province-wide. I don't know how much anybody knows about schizophrenia, but certainly it is the most stigmatized of all of the mental illnesses, pretty much. So we're still very relevant. The phone is, well, hopefully the phone doesn't ring while I'm here, but the phone is ringing off the hook. Especially during the COVID. So I do a lot of advocacy work. You know, somebody with schizophrenia who's in a boarding house that has bed bugs, not a good mix. It's actually inhumane. So I'll be working on that, or placements for people. I do a lot of public education about schizophrenia and psychosis. Right now we're offering a family support group because schizophrenia really is a family concern. So we do 5 weeks of education and support and awareness families of people with that have someone in their family that has schizophrenia or psychosis. We're starting a youth mental health journey program that we're hoping to unroll to all of the high schools here in the area. It's definitely one of the places where I could see volunteers really getting a lot of support for their whatever work that they're doing by going into the high schools and teaching the kids how to support each other through mental health problems, because there's so many, and now with the COVID, of course, everything's exacerbated. One of my favorite things that I do, and pretty much everything I do, the volunteers are invited. So if I'm going to getting a workshop or something, or going to the RNC to do some training, or pharmacy students, or whatever I'm doing, I always say, if possible, come on along. So one of my favorite things that I'm doing is at the Pottle Center, working with people with mental health issues on how to do stand-up comedy. I'm a firm believer that laughter is the best medicine, so it's important. So what we do is we get together and we watch other people's work in that area, stand up for mental health, and we practice with each other, and eventually we're thinking we're going to have a show. So that's one of my most rewarding things that I do. I've run a couple support groups here. One is for people who hear voices or have alternate realities. That's once a week or once a month, depending on who's joining us. We also do a group for people with schizophrenia or psychosis, and their family, friends, and carers are also invited. Do a couple groups I do the one at the Pottle Center, do another one at the Pottle. I do one weekly, just a generic peer support group for people at the Gathering Place. So I had that this morning, and it's always super rewarding and enjoyable. So I don't know if anybody, just jump in if you've got a question. The kind of work that people do here with us, volunteers that do here with us, they may take a topic like one of the new things that's happening is that some people with schizophrenia have been living with their families their whole life, and their family members are now getting older. So the family members are quite concerned about what's going to happen with their family member with schizophrenia or psychosis. So we get a lot of calls about that. So you might just take a topic and then research it, make a presentation, make a fact sheet. We're very flexible. We do advocacy, we do legal work, we do what else? Anything that you can think of, really, that has to do with somebody that's living with a very serious mental health disease, chronic disease. We advocate for better treatment, because still in 2020, we still have medications that are quite damaging to people. And so we're always looking for better treatments, better services, better programs, more respect. We want to demystify schizophrenia. For so long, it's been like the scary disease. I know in my family, we had my grandmother, my mother, my father, all had also, well, I can say suffered because back then it was really suffering, suffered from schizophrenia. So, but nowadays I'm quite dedicated to normalizing it, if you can use that word, so that it's not so frightening. There's a lot of myths around schizophrenia that we do a lot of public education about. Um, let's see, what else do we do? I'm looking around my office, and if you could see it now, you'd just be like, oh my goodness gracious. Right now, like I was talking to Lindsay earlier, because of Zoom, we're able to now reach people all over the province, really, with our support groups. And so we've been doing a lot of work in Labrador, trying to let folks know that we're here, and they can, if they can do the Zoom, get on it and come to our support groups. So very exciting about that. I mean, it is the upside of COVID, is that we are able to reach everybody. We can have one-on-one sessions over Zoom also. I have a lot of sessions over the telephone for people that don't do any of the computer stuff. Let's see, what else do we do? We have later in the fall, we're doing mental health walks in the forest locations. I'm a firm believer that, that nature can cure so much, and getting out into the woods and having a meditative nature walk can be very healing for people. So we're working on that. Let's see, mental health book club. Why not? Pick a book and we read a book and then we talk about it with each other. Lots of great books about schizophrenia, actually. Let's see. Not sure where, because I don't know where you're all coming from or what kind of experience you're looking for. I can just say again that, we're very open to what it is like. I have one of the volunteers from MUN does our social media. I'm a one woman office right now, so I really appreciate that. I can send stuff to this person, and they can make sure that we've got an updated presence. We've had one of our volunteers is really great at helping us find money, and we actually just got a grant. I had this idea that people who are leaving the psychiatric units, we'll say, that have schizophrenia or psychosis, I thought it would be really great if we had a really nice backpack for them, and then they could select the things that they needed if they wanted the Sobeys card or Dominion when they come back to work, when they win their struggle, if they're going back to school, some things that might be helpful for school. But just a way, and we got the grant, so we're going to go shopping, and we're going to provide people, some people who are extremely vulnerable, extremely lacking in resources, and we want to make sure that they know that we, as a Schizophrenia Society, we really care about their future, and we're invested in them, and we're here for them. So that's the kind of creative projects and thinking that we like to do here. I feel like I'm rambling now. Does anybody have a question? There you go.
Hello. I turned off my video just for a few moments just because it seemed like the connection was disconnecting a bit. So I just turned it off just to make it easier on the system. But one question that we do have is, what will be the time commitment involved with volunteering with you folks?
It's completely according to the person. So I don't have any minimum or maximum. I'm very grateful for anybody who decides that, they want to take their time. Now, the interesting thing pre-COVID is that our office, so one of the things that some of our volunteers got to do is we did education and awareness sessions with inpatients. So people actually got to have that interaction, have a coffee, have a chat, and again, that normalizes people. It's like, oh, here's a student, here's a professional, and here I am, I'm having coffee with them, this is all good. So we haven't been able to, and I'm not sure when I'll be able to get volunteers back in the office, but we're meeting by Zoom. We're still staying in touch with each other. So the answer to the question is, it's really up to the person. If you just want to come in and go to the gathering place with me on Monday mornings and sit for an hour and have a chat with people, great. if you want to do, now there's an application form and all that, but it's not very, onerous, like so it's, yeah, it's really up to the person and what it is that they're really interested in doing. Because, I was a student once too, and I was a volunteer, and a lot of the jobs I got after university were because of my volunteer work. So I'm invested in making sure that volunteers have a good experience here.
Absolutely. And how would you recommend anyone who is interested in getting involved, how would you recommend that they reach out to you?
Well, I think I put my address or my email in the thing in the beginning, but I don't know. Anyway, it's at my email is ed, executive director, at ssnl.org. So .org, and and our phone number is 777-3335. So people can give me a shout or just give me an email. And then what I'll do is I'll just shoot you out um, a volunteer application, and then you can just decide. You can fill out what you want, and it's not that complicated. We also have a board of directors. We're always looking for people with lived experience. I don't know if other people have heard that phrase before, but people with experience with mental health issues. I am a certified peer supporter, which means that I took a lot of training and how to peer support other people with mental. So I actually, to be able to do that, I had to have a mental health issue, which I do. So I've got the bipolar, and it's very rewarding to be able to support other people with mental health issues. And you don't have to have a mental health issue to be a volunteer here, obviously, or to even go to any of our groups. Some of our volunteers are interested because they have a family member, or they know somebody from high school or whatever. So that's how a lot of people come to us in the first place. But we are looking for, in general, like, if somebody's really into it, and they want to get board experience, that's also a possibility for people. Yeah, and I think there's also something going over at MUN. I don't know if MUN Mines is still on the go. It is. Okay. Yeah.
They
So
are, yeah.
yeah, so that's the other thing, is that if you wanted to stay closer to the university, there's a lot of things we can do there. We can do a film festival on mental health issues. We can do a comedy show. We can do one-on-one discussion of things. We can, there's so many things that people just want to stay there. I mean, how many students do you have? There's 1 in 100 people have schizophrenia. So how many students, there's people out there that may be suffering, they may be thriving. I get people all the time that, they're professionals, they got jobs, they, families and everything. And, so that's what we're all about, is trying to help people who are, struggling, as well as potential. Sometimes they need a little more support to get there. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that you would send along an application. So just wondering, are there any references or background checks needed for that application?
I guess the background check, so I'll spend some time talking to the person. So yeah, it'd be great if you had, even if it was your aunt and she really knows you well, it doesn't matter. So yeah, referrals, could be a teacher, it could be a friend. But more importantly, it's really that one-on-one conversation that I'll have with the person about, what it is that they'd like to do and get out of the experience. I can't stop looking at myself. That part.
It's one of the weird parts about these video conferencings, is being able to constantly see yourself. Is it's nice because you're like, hey, it's me, but also at the same time you're like, my hair, and you're constantly fixing things. Awesome.
Sorry, was somebody talking?
No, no, you go ahead.
Okay. No, I just remember the first time that I got on Zoom, and I didn't know that you automatically came on the thing, the viewer. I'm ready for any of that. And I'm trying to turn it off and I can't figure it out. That was just very, very stressful. But now I know, I get ready and I know you can turn this off and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that would be, the other thing that is a possibility would be research, because that's the big thing about what we do is researching other programs, research patients that are working for other people, treatments, that sort of thing. So if somebody's more scientific, biology, we have a, what is she like? She studies like neuro stuff. That's really helpful. Again, I can't do it all. So it's nice to be able to give a couple articles to somebody, a volunteer, and say, can you just sum this up for me? And so then I can get this out to a client that's waiting for information. So there's a really lots of different kinds of opportunities. There's children's books that are written about people having somebody in your family that has schizophrenia. So I'd love to get into the libraries and do some reading circles with the kids and stuff, because kids are affected by it too, right? And the one thing about schizophrenia that may be of interest to your folks is that they call it the youth robber, or the robber of youth, because it occurs likely to men in their late teens and girls, like, or women, I should say, up to like in their early 20s. So it's a really very serious, chronic, complicated disease. So I think, even being able to reach out on your own campus, like we could run a support group there if there's people, that want to learn how to run a support group. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing all that, Susan. So we have 3 minutes left, folks. So if anyone has any last minute questions for Susan, we'll take them now. But Susan, is there any last minute information you'd like to give out to anyone watching today?
Just want to say these are tough times, and I'm really impressed that there's more MUN students than ever, I guess, in the last 20 years or something like that. So good for you. And I wish you all the best. If you end up knowing somebody that's suffering, or just want some information confidentially, there's no problem with giving me a shout. And I'm happy to provide any kind of support or information that I can. In the meantime, just go for it. Like they say, you got this.
Wonderful. Thank you, Susan, and some very helpful advice, especially at this point in the semester where, workloads are starting to ramp up and stuff, and stress is starting to becoming a thing. So thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, so folks, this has been Susan with the Schizophrenia Society of Newfoundland.